So here's Adonis, right? Handsome man. Is that wings or some sort of... Is he an angel? He's being fought for by the gods. That's Aphrodite, the goddess of love. It's like, no! Adonis! And then she fights for him, like, with the goddess of the underworld or some shit, and something happens. Oh, they make a deal. The goddess of love gets to keep Adonis for 2/3 of the year, and then 1/3 of the year, Adonis has to go into the underworld, which represents the seasons and the changing of the guard and the, life and death cycle of the seasons. Now I want to check out all these, the December 25th birthdays to see if they represent Jesus the Christ. So Thammuz says it comes up demon, which that can't really be Jesus, can it? Thammuz is... Let's see here. Thammuz. I don't see any good pictures of Thammuz, so I don't see how you could... Here's a decent picture of Thammuz. Is that Jesus? Jesus, he's got a staff or whatever. Just kind of a rock sort of depiction of a guy with like some kind of hat with some sort of staff with some people beside him. So that don't look like Jesus to me. Not really, no. So that was Tammuz. We got Horus. We've already looked at the Buddha. We haven't looked at Zoroaster yet. So let's look at Horus first, and then Zoroaster. Thus spake Zarathustra. So is this what Jesus the Christ looked like? That's Horus. No, he is like winged, the wind beneath the wings, like he ascends into heaven, right? But he's not literally a bird. This Horus looks like he's got the head of an eagle. So I think Jesus had the head of a man. So that's not it. The closest to one is Sol Invictus. Sol Invictus looks dead on like Jesus. Zoroaster. Oh, what is this? That looks Jesus-y. That looks like a little, like a bunch of, some kind of Christy ass Jesus. It looks like some kind of Christy ass Jesus, does it not? I am the Jesus. The Buddha? No, I am the Jesus. So what do we know about this guy? Zoroaster? Do we know anything about Zoroaster? We'll find some of his origins. So, the Buddha's big fat guy, Siddhartha Gautama. We don't really know much about him. He was born in 563. Isaac Newton was real. He was born December 25th. Optics, motions, gravity, calculus. So we're going to take a look at this Wikipedia page, Zoroaster. Sol Invictus is also called Helios. It's a sun god. And so the picture of Jesus with like the sun behind his head with all the rays coming out all over the place. So Zoroaster, they said there's no scholarly consensus on where he lived, but about the 7th or 6th centuries BC, so 600 BC, before, right, he was about the contemporary of Darius the Great and Cyrus the Great. This is interesting. They still got like Zoroasterism today. They say the birthplace of Zoroaster is unknown. The language of the Gathas is not similar to the proposed Yasna 9 and 17 cite the Ditya River as Zoroaster's home and the scene of his first appearance. So somewhere around the Ditya River, the Avesta does not mention so he doesn't have like the miraculous birth. But not all the Gospels, only 2 Gospels, only Luke and Matthew says that Jesus had a miraculous birth. But goddamn Mark and motherfucking John didn't say shit about Jesus and the star and the Magi and the virgin birth. And if Jesus was born of a virgin, then how in the fuck did his bloodlines go all the way back to, You're saying Mary was from the house of David? Yeah, show me where Mary's from the house of David. Mary just appears out of nowhere. If you look at the genealogy, it goes back to Joseph, David, the house of Abraham and Noah and Joseph. It goes to Joseph. But if there's a virgin birth, Joseph isn't the father. You are not the father, Joseph. Then therefore, Jesus, his blood doesn't come from the house of David or the house of Abraham. He does not have holy blood. Which, why does that even fucking matter? Who gives a shit about that? Oh, the scriptures and the prophecy said it would come from these bloodlines, not those bloodlines. You think Jesus had kids? You think they're still alive today? Greater Iran, so he's in Sistan, Baluchistan. Alright, that's enough of that. Mithras, Adonis, Thammuz, Dionysus. Is this our Jesus the Christ? So far, this is pretty close, right? I mean, oh, and then he, hey, I am Jesus, and was that a sword? I mean, that's live by the sword, die by the sword, so that's kind of the opposite of Jesus, but look at that sun. Look at those sun rays, huh? And he looks Middle Eastern, got the sun rays, and that looks very Jesus-like. That's a Christy-ass, Jesus-like-y kind of, similarly. He's my Lord and Savior. If he's not your Lord and Savior, he's my Lord and Savior. So Zoroaster, like Sol Invictus, Zoroaster. These are two very, very similar. Let's see, Dionysus. Have we taken a look at, let's see, Thammuz, Horus, Zarathustra, we just looked at Adonis, Mithras, Krishna, Sol Invictus, Hermes, and Isaac Newton. Hermes, Isaac Newton, and Dionysus. Hermes, Isaac Newton, and